Yesterday, I made a very personal, brutal post that was risky to do. It was about narcissism and narcissists directly. And it was pretty hard to write, but overall, I did it for two reasons. One being I want to do self-help and maybe help myself, but also I also wanted to show others who are going through it that it's okay to come forward and talk about it. Because no matter what you do, even if the person that's the narcissist finds out that you're talking about them, they're going to be angry regardless of anything. So if by chance the person that I was writing about ends up seeing that post, when it's pretty obvious, there's nothing that would change there. Being that they are already angry with me and full of rage at me for something I did based on their actions, what's the worst that's going to happen? Right? But the second reason that I wrote it is because of Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is a narcissist and a manipulator, and probably the king of narcissism. And in order to understand his modus operandi, you have to go to the backstory to understand what is a narcissist. Where does it come from? Where does it stem from? Because if you don't understand what someone is doing, how are you supposed to try to confront it or fix it? And one of the things that I am giving you a full disclosure of is that I like watching Rachel Maddow. And I learned things from Rachel Maddow because she says things that I didn't know about. And a lot of what she does is give a backstory to something that's related to the topic at hand. But in order to understand the current situation, she digs deep back into her archives of history to explain the backstory and then explains the similarities. And that's the beauty of a good journalist, of a good reporter who does their due diligence and homework and actually is educating their audience, their viewers. And to be the leader, a leader is supposed to lead. And a leader is supposed to lead by example. And a leader is supposed to know how to lead. None of which Donald Trump has. I was on my Facebook, somebody wrote that President Trump is a great president. And I very simply think, who is the president? Who is our president? The person pretended to be dumb and said they didn't understand the question. I said the question was pretty self-explanatory. What part of it don't you understand? And so I got pissant and I said, let me put it to you in a way that your feeble little brain cell could understand. And I wrote, who is the current president of the United States? Because I don't think we have one. And there was no answer there. There was no answer. And number two, we were just also having a conversation about tariffs. And someone decided to write that tariffs are good. And I wrote back, On what planet are tariffs any good? Because in my world, in my reality, tariffs are bad. Every economist said tariffs are bad for the economy and bad for the consumer and certainly bad for businesses. Do you mean to tell me that you know better than the experts? You mean to tell me that Donald Trump knows better than all the experts combined? And so I wrote that tariffs are bad, very bad. So can you prove to me that tariffs are a good thing? And the answer that I got was, well, you'll pay more, but at least they'll be made in the United States. And I said, well, wait a minute. Nobody ever said anything about it being made in the United States. And why do I care if it's made in the United States, if it's made in Canada, if it's made in Timbuktu? Why do I care where it's made? And if we don't have the facilities to make the product, you're not going to get a product. If my country doesn't have an automobile factory, you're not getting a car, right? If China isn't producing cell phones for the American market, where are we getting our cell phones from if we don't have a facility? Which, by the way, didn't Donald Trump have a groundbreaking ceremony in his first term to bring Foxconn to Wisconsin to build a plant to have the phones built here? Whatever happened to that? So I said to him, I never mentioned anything about the United States. So I explained to him again why tariffs are a good thing. There was no answer there. There are no good things about tariffs, because when these companies charge when the companies have to pay for the tariff goods, they need to get their money back somehow, right? They're going to tack it on to the consumer. Let me put you in another way. If you have tariffs, that affects your bottom line. Because if they can't bring goods in, there's no business. If there's no business, they have to fire employees. If they fire employees, you're out of a job. Right? And if you're not getting paid, this is exactly what happened with the Great Depression back in the 20s. The economy got shot to hell that people ended up committing suicide. And this was in the day of the age of Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford. Chrysler. This is in the day of those people. Tariffs are bad, period. And I'm inclined to believe an economist over some psycho who is starting a trade war because he believes that Canada is bringing fentanyl into this country. But in 260 years that this country has existed, I don't know any president that has taken our allies and made threats or demands to get or bullied to get what they want. I don't know anyone that does that. Now, if you say to me, well, I don't like the deal and maybe we should renegotiate it, okay, fine. If you look at a deal and it's outdated and the laws have changed since then, okay, let's negotiate. Canada has been one of our best friends for as long as I can remember. And they have never done a damn thing for us. They have never done a damn thing to hurt us. I know a lot of friends of mine are Canadian. My best friend is French Canadian. She's from Montreal. One of the top schools there, McGill University. Now, I know there's drug cartels in Mexico. I don't know of any drug cartels coming out of Canada. Do you? I don't know any president that's going to pick fights at random because they are delusional. I really don't. And so when you pick a fight for no reason and demand they become the 51st state, well, first of all, that's not how it works, number one. And number two, are you trying to really isolate us from the rest of the world? The way I see it, Canada responded by taking every single American product off their store shelves and businesses. They pretty much told, so the bars no longer sell American alcohol or American beer or anything else that they get from America. Think about this. Avocados are from Mexico. Margaritas, tequila is from Mexico. Corona is from Mexico. Avocado is what? You go to a store, it's what? 89 cents a pound? $1.99 a pound? To be fair, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know who else we can get avocados from. I really don't. Or tequila. But what I do know is that if you're making a tariff on Mexico, Mexico is going to retaliate by doing the same, which they did. So if you're paying 89 cents a pound for avocados, just for an example, you're probably going to be paying 3 times as much for that avocado. It's not worth $5 a pound, but that's what you're going to end up paying. And that $6 Corona that you enjoy at the bar is going to become $16 to $17. Beer shouldn't be that high. Okay? Even a good beer is maybe $10 or $11. But draft beer alone is like $8. I don't know about you, but I don't want to pay I don't want to pay $18 for a bottle of beer. I don't want to pay $50 for a pitcher of margarita. I don't want to have to pay $25 for a margarita. Or, you see what I'm saying? There's a chain reaction here. Everything has a consequence. Tariffs are bad. The other thing is the birthright citizenship that's still in the news because of a new development that I'll get to in a second. There is no... Donald Trump is not a president. He's a Pino, a president in name only. Birthright citizenship was created in 1865 or 6 after the Civil War. I actually don't know what led to it. But after the Civil War, it was added into the Constitution as the 14th Amendment. And the Constitution was still not complete. And I believe I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this, but I believe the last thing that was added into the Constitution was a woman's right to vote. But I'm not sure. Once it's in the Constitution, it becomes the law of the land and must be followed. Donald Trump decided, because he doesn't like immigrants, because he's racist, and most likely a bigot, is he signed an executive law to get rid of birthright citizenship and deport them. The problem is, he doesn't have the authority to do that. And as a judge said, it is blatantly unconstitutional because it is a constitution. You cannot overrule the Constitution. The Constitution is what makes us a country. Think of it as the Magna Carta of England. England never had a prime minister. England was always ruled by a king or queen. And they had the power to make all the rules and regulations they wanted. But the people of the United Kingdom decided they needed a separation of church and state. And so that's how they got the Magna Carta. And the Magna Carta is their constitution. And you still have a king and queen today in England, but it's only symbolic. It's only symbolic, but they still keep to the traditions that were made hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And without the Constitution, you have chaos. Without the Constitution, Donald Trump can essentially make himself the judge, jury, and executioner. Because if you take away the Constitution, you don't have courts, you don't have the three separate branches of government, you have nothing. However, that being said, Republicans somehow are still on this, and somehow they found a document dating back to the 1600s to justify Donald Trump's order to take away birthright citizenship. I don't know where they found it. I don't know what this is. But they found this law that was written in the 1600s to justify Trump's executive order to wipe away birthright citizenship. But there's only two problems here. There's only two problems here. There was no United States in the 1600s. And nobody really knows what really happened in the 1600s because a lot of the documents have been lost to time. And the third one, and most important, is that it's irrelevant. As long as it's in the Constitution, it is the law of the land. It doesn't matter if you don't like the law. It doesn't matter if you think it's a stupid law. It's in the Constitution. Just like women have the right to vote. It is in the Constitution. You may not like it, but it's there. It is there. And the only way to change the law is Congress is the only one who can change the Constitution. Plus, you need 1/3 of the states to vote on it as well. It ain't happening. So the fact that... So you sign an executive order, and I refuse to handle it out because my loyalty is to the Constitution and not to you, and you brand me a traitor, that makes you a dictator. That makes you an authoritarian leader. Because if you're saying that I am the law, and I'm not doing your law, and I'm not doing your bidding, so you're going to throw me in jail for branding me a traitor, okay, you can throw me in jail. I'd rather do the right thing than the wrong thing. Because if I do the wrong thing, then I am no better than you. But if these Republicans who decided that this law from the 1600s is going to work, then I have a bridge to sell you at 75% off. And speaking of which, not bridges, but speaking of Congress, as I record this, the White House is drafting up an executive order to abolish the Department of Education. That's right. You heard that they are drafting up an executive order for Donald Trump to sign to abolish the Department of Education. There's only one problem. Well, there's a couple. One is, the president has no authority whatsoever to do this in any way, shape, or form. The Department of Education is considered a government agency, and the only people who could delete the Department of Education or modify it or make any changes is Congress. Congress is the only one with authority to create new government agencies, modify them, or get rid of them completely. There is no law on this. There is no basis in any reality where Donald Trump has the authority to abolish the Department of Education, just like he has no authority to abolish the USAID department. And this is what narcissists are doing. This is what they do. They lead you to believe, they promise you all of these things they're going to do just so they can get their vote. And then once they get in, they get free reign of the toys and do whatever they want. Because the narcissist's favorite word to say is, I'll do whatever I want. As I stated in my post yesterday, when they say I'll do whatever I want, what they're basically saying is, I don't give a shit about you. I don't give a shit about the law, and I don't give a shit about anybody else. I am me. I do what I want, when I want, and then I'll find a scapegoat to blame it on, which is essentially what Donald Trump does. There is a reason why. He's firing every agent that was involved in the January 6th investigation. There is a reason why he's hiring loyalists to replace people. No matter how unqualified they are, there is a reason for this. Narcissists will say the past matters, and they love bringing it up. They love bringing up stuff that happened 3 years ago or 4 years ago, even if it has no relevance to today. They've convinced themselves that yes, it is relevant and that it matters. The problem is, it only matters when it's for you. So if they're talking to me, they will say the past matters when it comes to me, so they can justify their narrative that they've created. But if the past matters, okay, if you want to play that card, okay. If the past matters, then okay. Then look at what Canada's done for 20 years, or Mexico, or Panama, or Israel, or look at what the president's done, or look at what the past administration done. If the past matters, then why are you whitewashing it? Why are you trying to rewrite history? Is it good for me but not thee? Do you think people are stupid? We know that January 6th happened. There's videos. If January 6th didn't happen, then who the hell did Donald Trump pardon? If January 6th didn't happen. If January 6th didn't happen, then what committee was there? What evidence did I read? If the past never happened. Do you understand this pattern? They're trying to rewrite the history and manipulate you in order for you to be convinced that, you know what, he's right. January 6th never happened. It was just a movie that Hollywood was filming. That's essentially what he's saying. But what do I know? I'm just a poor old Democrat sitting at home making this recording. What do I know, right? I know more than people think they do. I just keep my cards close to my chest, you see. But I'll tell you what's going to happen. There's a reason when people said Project 2025 is going to be the playbook for this new administration, that is exactly what's happening here, folks. He's using Project 2025. Everything that he's done so far was in Project 2025. And if you don't believe me, give it a read. Not all 930 pages, mind you, but give it a read. That is the new Constitution. He is literally trying to rewrite the Constitution to fit his image of what this country should be. And it is dangerous. More dangerous than you should ever know. Because if he could write executive orders that he has no authority to write and bypass Congress to do whatever he wants, then why not just get rid of Congress? Just fire every single congressman and say, goodbye, have a nice life. By that logic, right? By that logic. You should do that. That's why he wants loyalists, because these are people that will never question him. They will not question him. If he says, wipe my ass, they'll say, how long of the toilet paper should we roll down for you? If he says, kiss my feet, it goes, okay. How many times should we kiss it? He wants people that will not question him and will do his bidding. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. Doesn't matter if it's cruel. It doesn't matter if it's inhumane. I mean, just today, Kristi Noem, the puppy killer, said she has no problem putting children in detention at Guantanamo Bay if she has to. Think about that. She has no problem putting children into a detention center at Guantanamo Bay simply because their parents are illegal. And this is coming from somebody who killed her puppy and had absolutely no remorse for it. This is the person that is now in charge of Homeland Security because Congress has no spine, because they sold their souls to the devil. And they are more concerned about their career than doing the right thing and doing what's best for this country, for the people that voted them in. But what they don't realize is the people, keyword, the people can vote them out too. The people can vote them out. But when Kristi Noem was on Meet the Press on Sunday, Kristen Welker asked her that specific question about the children. And rather than answering it, she beat it around the bush, deflected, by saying something else entirely. And this is what MAGA does. This is what a narcissist does. A narcissist will deflect and throw it back to you using manipulation as a tactic. If you read my post on narcissism, you'll understand exactly what is going on in this country right now. If you read it, I go into specific details. It is personal, yes, but it is giving you a detailed explanation to understand what exactly is going on in this country. And what is going on in this country is making us a laughingstock yet again. How nobody learned their lesson from the first Trump term is beyond me. Because he is now going worse. Because now he has nobody to keep him in check. Because now he's not a president. He's basically a man with power. He is a man who wants to seize power. Do you remember when he said grab him by the you-know-what? And now he's not being a president. Now he's a dictator and a king. He wants to seize power for himself. He wants to control the entire federal government. And he's going to do it by any means necessary, no matter who gets hurt along the way. And that is what a narcissist is. A narcissist has an agenda and they don't care who they hurt. You get in their way, they will bring you down. You try to stop them, they will go harder. Okay? They will never take responsibility for what they do. They will never take accountability for what they do. They will never apologize for what they do. They are heartless, they have no remorse, and they have no shame. And you know why they will never apologize? You know why they will never admit accountability? You know why? Because in their mind, they didn't do anything wrong. In their mind, it's always you. And I speak from experience. Okay? I wrote that post so people could understand what the hell is going on in this country. Because a lot of people are confused. A lot of people don't understand. And people are frankly scared and afraid. They may not say it. And they may not show it. But they are. And when you have people who used to be your friends, who now believe what Donald Trump is saying, and you try to speak the truth, this is who we are now as a nation. This is who we are now. That the truth is now what a dictator is telling you it is. The truth is now what a fascist is telling you what it is. And where are the Republicans in all this? On vacation somewhere. The country's being ripped to shreds, and they're on vacation. Meanwhile, the Democrats are out in full force, protesting. And when I say Democrats, I mean the Democratic congressmen, the Democratic senators. They're in Washington. They're fighting. They're saying it's a constitutional crisis because you're closing government agencies that you have no authorization to do whatsoever. They actually care about the government. They actually care. And what are Republicans worried about? PBS and NPR. At least that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. She's demanding answers to why they're showing ads on NPR. Does she ever do her job, or is she busy creating bullshit nonsense that nobody's asking her to do? The minute Donald Trump said he wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, she created a bill to make it happen and announced that the golden age of America is back. I didn't even realize we were in a golden age. I didn't realize we had one. But okay. PBS and NPR are publicly funded. And they're not ashamed to say that. It actually says it before each program. If you watch PBS, it says they give you this program was made possible by our generous donors and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, keyword Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by viewers like you. And if they warn public stations, then why are they having a pledge drive? Why do they have their pledge drives? Where they show some great programming and they have people manning the telephones. If it's, to my knowledge, they're not showing any ads. It's very transparent. And the FCC actually tried this before, and people were saying, don't kill Big Bird. Or I like the one that somebody actually wrote in a meme. What did Big Bird ever do to you? Which is more truth than you want to imagine, but it is cute. This time, you have an FCC person that was appointed by Trump, and he's going really hard. Because first it's going to be NPR and PBS, then it's going to be CNN, then it's going to be MSNBC, then it's going to be News Nation. And Donald Trump is going to go and kill everything that A, he doesn't like, or B, that wronged him. And before you know it, the only news that we're going to have is his favorite one, which is, you guessed it, Fox. Which isn't even billed as a news station, if you want to go that way. They're actually billed as an entertainment company under the FCC rules. But Fox is propaganda, which is usually what state news is usually about anyway, like RSN. And Rachel Maddow had an interesting piece about this last night. She was linking Viktor Orban, who is the dictator of Hungary, and how he slowly but surely wiped away all the news to only have one, to see him in a positive way, and everybody else is the enemy. And if we don't wake up and stop this, that's going to happen here. It's important to have all of these news, and it's important to watch them all. And yes, I do watch Fox, just to see how crazy they really are. It's important to watch Fox, CNN, NBC, ABC, whatever it is. It's important to watch them all and be informed, and then come to your own conclusion. But when a news organization doesn't fact check, then you have a problem. If I say the sky is blue, and if you tell me the sky is blue, and I fact you to say no, it's not, it's really orange, but you're convinced it's blue, and then you want to sue me for defamation. I'm like, for stating a fact, for going outside and looking outside of the window, for going outside and seeing that the sky is indeed a different color. Are you going to tell me that it's not raining outside? You say you're lying, it's not raining. Then why does it smell like dew outside? Why is it wet outside? Goes, understand this, ladies and gentlemen. Understand this. Donald Trump said he was going to be a dictator on day one, and then when he finished what he wanted to do, he wouldn't be a dictator anymore. But it doesn't work like that. You're either a dictator or you're not. You're either a king or you're not. You're either buying flowers or you're not. You can't have it both ways. You can't. And it's a sad day when a federal court has to put a restraining order on the President of the United States. It is a sad day when we have a Pino, a president in name only, who believes he can do whatever he wants and is above the law, and people will do his bidding. Because when he signs that bill to demolish the Department of Education, I can guarantee you Elon Musk will be the first one, or Marjorie Taylor Greene, whichever bigger idiot goes in there first, and demand they all leave the building automatically because they lost their jobs. And I can guarantee you, everyone at the Department of Education will not leave, and they will stand their ground. And I can guarantee you that when they refuse to leave the building because they've been losing a job, I can guarantee you that Donald Trump, or whoever his lackey is, will punish each and every one of them. But the people who stay at the Department of Education after Donald Trump signs that bill are true patriots, because they are sitting their ground and saying, Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to do this, no matter what you say. And if you don't believe me, look in the Constitution and go to Congress. And if you're saying, I'm the president, he's a president, he can do whatever he wants. Narcissism. It is a really sad thing. Really, it's a sad thing when a person who says they're for law and order does the exact opposite of that. You can't say you're for law and order and then pardon a bunch of criminals and killers into the wild. That's the opposite of law and order. You can't say you're for law and order, but then sign executive orders that are illegal and that you're not authorized to do. That's just basically contradicting yourself. You're saying, I'm for law and order, but only when it's convenient for me. This is the mind of a narcissist. It goes back to the past matters, but only for you. To prove a point that you're a liar. And that's how a narcissist works, by the way. Everybody else is at fault, but you're the perfect one. He keeps mentioning people keep saying the deep state. What the hell is the deep state? He never said anything about what the deep state is. He just thinks everyone is out to get him because it's a witch hunt. And by the way, if you say you're innocent, then let the legal system play out. And if you truly are innocent, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you say but it can't be a witch hunt for everything. And if you are innocent, then are you saying that everybody is out to get you and they made up all these charges against you? Because they got nothing, because they hate you? Because they have nothing better to do? Do you think that's how the legal system works? To just make up 34 charges and then accuse the jury of being Joe Biden, that got paid by Joe Biden? Do you not know how the legal system works? Your own lawyers picked the jury of your peers that voted you guilty, that made you a felon. Are you saying your lawyer is stupid? You know, the lawyer that you have running the Justice Department? Are you saying that your lawyer is stupid because your lawyer picked the jury and you're saying they were Biden supporters? So everybody's at fault but you? Are you saying that the January 6th had nothing to do with you? So your line is fight like hell. That wasn't you? So everything you're doing right now has nothing to do with you? The plane crash, you're blaming it on DEI? When you fired half the people at the FAA? And you're saying, and you're blaming it on DEI? You're blaming it on Pete Buttigieg? Who's not even in office anymore? Are you saying that because they are a DEI person, they're not qualified to fly a plane? Are you telling a reporter you're better than the FAA because you're the president and you know better than them? They don't even know the cause yet, and you're saying it was because of DEI? Facts matter, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm more inclined to believe anybody than a psychotic lunatic. And unfortunately, that's what we have in office now. A psychotic lunatic who is destroying this country, is picking fights at random with people that we shouldn't be in fights with. He's making threats and demands, is delusional about things that don't exist, making up stories as they go along, and believing them. And you can tell a lie long enough, and it becomes true, and you can believe that, but that doesn't mean it's true. If I tell you many times this apple is green when it's really red, and you believe it to be green, that doesn't mean it. That doesn't make it true. And if you can, and if you're called out, if somebody calls me out, if I was wrong about something, and somebody corrects me, if somebody calls me out and corrects me, and I verify that I was wrong, you know what I tell them? You're right. Thank you. I stand corrected. That's the way to do it. not attack somebody because you don't believe in what they say, because you don't like their answer. That's just childish. And if you're making up a story that has no basis in reality, and instead of retracting it, your supporters are going even further with it, that is dangerous. It is dangerous to make up a story and then go with it, and then people believe it. Why exactly do you want to dismantle the Department of Education? Have you ever thought that maybe it's needed? Have you ever thought that by closing an agency down is going to harm, isn't going to make America great again, as you claim you want to do? No, no, no. It's actually going to make America vulnerable and worse. Because you close down agencies that are supposed to protect us from our enemies, and then you close it down, you're basically telling our enemies, come on in, the water's fine. And then when they do come in and they start attacking us, who are you going to blame? The Democrats? Somebody in Congress? Who are you going to blame? MAGA loves what he's doing. Republicans love what he's doing. But when it starts affecting you, what then? Are you still going to love him and blame it on somebody else? Or are you going to admit that we were right? Or are you so far gone in the cult that you don't know the difference between right and wrong anymore because your reality is warped? Because he can't... I'm just saying. It really... And then you have this other schmuck, Elon Musk, who has, I don't know exactly how he's getting his security, I don't know exactly if he has security clearance or not, but he's hacking the Department of Treasury and stealing 330 billion people's financial records. Why? What does he need with my information? What does he need with your information? How is this even allowed? He's just throwing in he's hacking he's hacking servers now to get classified information, to get personal and sensitive information, not explaining the hows or the whys. How is he getting access to all this without having any security clearance? And what is he going to do with our information? Is he going to sell it to the highest bidder? To our enemies? Is he going to hold our stuff hostage until he gets what he wants? Which is, I don't know, world domination? What is he, Dr. Evil or something? Like, I don't understand why no one is stopping him. Who is playing whom here? Is Donald Trump playing Elon Musk, or is Elon Musk playing Donald Trump? Is Donald Trump manipulating Musk, or is Musk manipulating Trump? Who is playing whom? Who is running the government here? I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a fascist state. I don't want to live in an authoritarian state, and I certainly don't want to have a dictator telling me what I can and cannot do. I do not want a dictator telling me what I can and cannot watch, and I don't need a dictator telling me what I can and cannot say or think. I am an American. I am a proud American citizen. I am a proud Democrat. And I am proud to have my freedom. And I am proud to have my democracy. And I am proud that I'm able to think for myself and tell the difference between right and wrong. I am proud that I am able to admit when I'm wrong. And I am proud to admit that I'm not smart. And I have no problem apologizing. And I have no problem debating people. I have a problem when you have two delusional morons or psychos running the government into the ground for whatever reason. I have no idea what this Doge is. It is not a government entity. It was created by Trump specifically for Musk. I don't know what Doge does. I don't know who's funding it. But I do know Musk is not a government agent, nor does he have any security clearance whatsoever to access classified information, nor does he have the authority to close anything down, nor does he have the authority to do whatever it is the hell he's doing in Doge. I don't know what it is. Donald Trump never said it is. All Musk said was it was for government efficiency and to defund things that aren't needed. Except for one problem. The things we do need, that's what he's getting rid of. You may not be happy with the agency. Okay, make changes. But everything he's getting rid of has a purpose. Because if there was no purpose for it, we wouldn't still have it, right? Homeland Security was created after 9/11. There was no Homeland Security before 2001. There might have been something similar in variation, but there was no Homeland Security. Until 9/11, it didn't exist. But then we realized it was needed. There was no food stamps until maybe the 60s. Same with Social Security. These are things that the government felt was needed as the years went by, and these are programs that people rely on to survive. Because if we didn't have food stamps, not many people would be able to eat. And you gotta be grateful for that. And if there was no Social Security, people like my mother wouldn't be able to survive because they get disability. And that comes from Social Security. Our taxes is what makes the government function. Our taxes is what makes the states function. Our taxes is what is needed to provide these programs to everybody. Our taxes is what keeps the food stamp program alive, the Social Security program alive. If you get rid of these, then where will our tax dollars go? Into the pockets of Trump? The pockets of Musk? The pockets of the rich people? Just get rid of taxes. Problem solved. If you're getting rid of every organization out there, if you're getting rid of every agency, then just go to the IRS. I have a right to know where my tax dollars are going, just like every other person here. If you refuse to tell me where my tax dollars, if you're abusing my tax dollars, then why do I pay taxes? If you're abusing my tax dollars to fund some bullshit program that you created, then why am I paying taxes? Don't abuse my taxes. Don't abuse my tax dollars that I've worked hard for. I'd rather go to jail for not paying taxes than to see it going for something evil and inhumane. And yes, I'll admit that. I'll say that right now. I would rather go to jail than having my taxes be used for nefarious purposes. And anybody who's working for Trump, at some point, it's going to catch up to them. And at some point, you will have to be accountable and answer for what you've done. Mark my words. People will remember this. History will remember this. The people running these organizations, the people that got confirmed and nominated by Donald Trump, it's no secret what they're doing. And at some point, they will have to answer for those crimes. Even if they see it saying, we were only following the boss, you know what? It doesn't matter. The presidency is not a mafia business. And Donald Trump is, either treating it like one or he's not. Because you know what mafias do? You know what the head of a mafia family wants? Loyalty. Anybody ever see The Godfather? Remember, remember, Michael Corleone killed his own brother for betraying him. Remember that? He told Fredo he knew what he did. And he didn't hesitate. He killed his brother. Or rather, he had his brother killed for betraying the family. And that's exactly what's happening here. Donald Trump is running the White House as if it's as if it's a mafia crime family. Because like a mafia, he wants loyalty. And if you're not loyal, then you'll be arrested or whatever he wants to do. But mark my words, at some point the past catches up to you. And are you going, and even after all the voting and everything, all those people in Georgia that helped Donald Trump with his voting scheme, they pleaded guilty. They went to jail. Look at Rudy Giuliani. Look at Rudy Giuliani. He lost everything. He used to be a well-respected mayor of New York. Everybody loved him, so much so that he was on an episode of Seinfeld. Remember? He used to be so well-respected. And now look at him. He lost everything over a lie that he's still convinced is true. And he lost his Yankees World Series rings. He lost his penthouse. He lost his car. Hell, he even lost his family. His own daughter pleaded and begged with him to not get involved with Trump, and he did it anyway. And he lost everything. And did Donald Trump help him? No. Donald Trump wiped his hands and acted as if it was all his own doing. And Rudy Giuliani's downfall, he went from being a well-respected person, and his downfall is that he's now bankrupt and has no money and lost it all because he followed the lies of a narcissistic psycho. And he truly believed it. And to this day, he lost everything. But to this day, he's still blaming everybody else for his actions. And yet the people that he blamed are having the last laugh because they became rich. And they said it wasn't about the money, it was to make a point. And the point was made. And that's why narcissists are bad, because Donald Trump could do whatever he wants and he'll blame every single person other than himself. He'll find some scapegoat. There is a reason why he wanted Mike Johnson reelected as Speaker of the House, because he knows that he's loyal and he knows that he will do the bidding of whatever Trump tells him to do. And we're seeing that. Even though Congress is a separate branch of government, a president, to my knowledge, does not mix with Congress at all and pulls the strings. That is why Congress is the legislative branch and the White House is the executive branch. The three branches of government are judicial, executive, and legislative. And there's a reason for it. And so when something goes wrong, he can go to Mike Johnson and say, hey, I want to do this. And he'll say, okay. But at some point, Mike Johnson will end up being the fall guy for Donald Trump. And at some point, Donald Trump will go to the judge, to the Supreme Court, and say, I didn't commit anything wrong. You told me I have immunity. So how am I breaking the law? You're saying if I have immunity, that means I can do whatever I want without any consequences. And if the Supreme Court ever rules against the Constitution and in Trump's favor, then we are fucked. Then we are really fucked. Because when that day comes, that's the day I move out of this country. Because a country without a constitution cannot stand. As Benjamin Franklin said, a republic, if you can keep it.